Hi everybody, welcome to Unit 4, Lesson 6, Add Numbers in Scientific Notation. So this is really where we start getting into the bulk of scientific notation and working with them, and it's going to feel a little messy, okay? And I might not describe it in the exact same way that your lesson describes it, but I hope it brings some realness to it and that it can translate to what you're able to do as well, okay? So when we have the same exponent in the scientific notation, the steps are super easy, okay? You can literally just add the coefficients, which these are the coefficients, the decimal value. So we add them together. 2.49 plus 2.36 equals 4.85. And then write the base, okay? And then combine them. And that's it. So when these exponents are the same, super easy. It's when they're different that it gets a little tricky, okay? So let's go through some examples. With number 1, we have the same exponent. Yay! Right? Because then we can just add the decimal values. So 2 and 2/10 plus 3 and 7/10. Remember, when you are adding your decimals, you have to line up your decimal point. So 2 plus 7 is 9, 2 plus 3 is 5. So my coefficient, or my decimal value, is 5.9. Multiplication symbol, and since they had the same exponent, then you just bring it into the answer. And that's it. That's not bad, right? Those are the same steps we just followed at the top of this paper. Like I said, it's when we get to these other values that things get a little tricky. Okay? So here's how I like to do it. And again, this might be slightly different than how it's presented in your lesson, but hopefully not too bad. 1, my goal is to write at least one of these numbers to match the exponent in the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one here, the 2.41 times 10 to the 4th. I'm going to first, I like to write it back into standard form if I can, and then move my decimal to where it's only 3 spaces instead of 4. So let me show you what I mean. So with this one here, I'm going to take this number, and I've got, let's see, 2.41 times 10 to the 4th. Well, to write it in standard form, I'd go 4 spaces to the right, which, if I rewrite that, would look like that, 24,100. Okay? But I want it to have an exponent of 3, so I'm going to move it back 1, 2, 3 spots, and I could rewrite this as 24.1 times 10 to the 3rd. Okay? Now, the nice thing about that is now I have 6.3, and I can times 10 to the 3rd plus 24.1 times 10 to the 3rd. Now, I can add everything together. And then if I need to, I can move my my decimal point back, which most likely I will. So with that, then let's see, off to the side, I'm going to do 24.1 plus 6.3. I should have given myself more room on my paper. I didn't, though, so I'm kind of squishing stuff in here. Line up my decimal, put it straight into my answer. 1 plus 3 is 4. 24 plus 6 is 30. So right now I have 30.4 times 10 to the 3rd. But that's not written in scientific notation, right? Because this first number has to be between 1 and 10. So when you're first starting out, if you can, and if I were you, I'm going to write this in expanded form. I'm going to say, okay, 30.4, I got to move my decimal 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3. So in standard form, this would be 30,400. Well, now I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, giving me 3.04 times 10 to the 4th. And that would be my final answer. So there's a few steps. I know it takes going back and forth, but until we're really used to working with these numbers, I hope this process helps you. Okay, this last example is number 3 from your quick check. So an empty dump truck weighs about 2.8 times 10 to the 5th pounds. How much does it weigh if 15,300 pounds of trash is added? Answer in scientific notation. So the nice thing about this problem on your quick check is that it tells you, it says the answer should be in scientific notation, and 2 of the answers are not written in scientific notation. So you automatically can eliminate 2 of them just by knowing that. All right, so that's kind of nice. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. We've got 2.8 times 10 to the 5th plus 15,300 pounds. Okay, so I already have one that's in to the 5th, right? I could write this in scientific notation, but I'm actually going to take it further than that. I'm going to move my decimal point 5 times, because 3, 4, 5 times, because then I can multiply it by 10 to the 5th, right? So then I could rewrite this whole thing as 2.8 times 10 to the 5th plus, and now I have 0.153 times 10 to the 5th. And the nice thing about doing that is, yeah, this is not in oops, this should not be equals, that should be plus. The nice thing about this, it's not written in scientific notation, but because their exponents match, we can go ahead and add our coefficients. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, okay, I've got 2.8 plus 0.153, can put a 0 in there. I'm going to bring my decimal straight down into my answer, and I'm going to put some zeros there so that I just have everything lined up. I know I'm good to go. All right, so we'll add them together. 0 plus 3 is 3, 0 plus 5 is 5, 8 plus 1 is 9, and then 2 plus 0 is 2. So we can write this now. Ooh, and look at that. It's actually in scientific notation. And then because those exponents matched, we can just bring that straight down into our answer, giving me an answer of 2.953 times 10 to the 5th. This number here is between 1 and 10, so I don't need to change anything. So that actually worked out in our favor. But since we know that the numbers were referring to pounds, we want to make sure we put that in our answer as well. And that would be your final answer. Okay? I hope this helps. I hope that watching that process play out, I hope that helps you as well. But of course, as always, reach out if you need more.